This is setting up dual deployment in RockSim-Pro. As you can see, I've got a rocket loaded, and if I look at it from the 2D side view, I can see two parachutes. I have this parachute right here and this parachute right here, and parachutes are designated with a P. In order to do dual deployment, you will need two recovery devices, either two parachutes, two streamers, or a combination of each. To set this up, we're going to go to the Prepare for Launch, which is this button up here. Click on that. And you can see I've already got a rocket motor loaded, and I've got a really long delay. Dual deployment is done with electronics. So for that, we're going to go to the Flight Events tab. Click on that. And you can see there's two devices that can be triggered. And now we're going to set our triggering events. So for our drogue parachute, which is the parachute here in the back, we're going to set this one to deploy at apogee because our electronics will sense apogee and automatically deploy it. Now for our main parachute, we're going to set that one to come out at a specific altitude. And I'm going to choose an altitude, so deploy at altitude, and then I need to set the value for the altitude. Now this assumes that the parachute is coming down when it reaches this altitude. So I'm going to set it at 600 feet. And now I can go and do a launch, and then we can look at the flight profile. This is the launch visualizer window, and what we see is the main view and the mini view. And I'm going to turn the mini view off over here in the buttons, and it's the bottom button, and that will hide that. And I also want to look at a trajectory view, so I'm going to click on this and then select the trajectory view from here. You can see that it's been reoriented. Now I'm going to come down here to the compass. Now north points to the black arrow, so I'm going to put the north straight up by just rotating the compass around. So our rocket is sitting on the pad approximately right here in this field, and I'm going to click the launch button and we can watch the rocket take off and do what it's going to do. So it went a little bit out of screen, so I'm going to zoom out a bit and move this down. Okay, so we're getting close to apogee because I can tell that it's slowing down. Okay, so this green dot indicates that we're at apogee, and it's green because we're inside the weathercocking cone, and we like to see the rocket stay inside of this cone because it essentially means that the rocket went straighter up than sideways. So now it's coming down, but we can't tell if it's the drogue parachute or the main parachute, but it is coming down fairly fast, and you can see our altitude and distance up here in the top left. I'm going to speed things up a little bit because I need to get down to 600 feet. So I'm just going to grab the slider bar down here and just drag it till I get close to 600 feet on the top left corner. Okay, so now we're 623, and now if I go below 623, you can see that the trajectory has changed. So essentially, the rocket was coming down fast here and then slowed down once it hits 600 feet. So this kind of shape is reminiscent of dual deployment because we have a small parachute here and a bigger here. And if we zoom in on this, and now I'm going to use my scroll wheel and the shift key to move things around. And I'm just clicking and dragging while holding down the shift key. And I want to get this approximately in the middle of the screen so that when I zoom using the scroll wheel, I keep things centered. I can also zoom over here with the buttons. When I do that, I'm going to click and drag and move things around, and you can see a little yellow dot, and that is a parachute, and I just went too far in, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I need to be kind of in the middle of the screen, so I'm just clicking and dragging until I get that in the middle. and then I can zoom in with the buttons and you can see things a little bit clearer. So I zoomed out a little bit so we can see that the parachute here, and that's fairly big in relation to the rockets. That kind of tells me that's the main parachute. And if I zoom out a little bit and if I back up the time slider to this point, you can see that that dot has changed. And now if I zoom in here, I went too far again. That the parachute is much smaller. So this is the small drogue parachute, and then once we get below 600 feet, it's going to change into the main parachute. You can see that it changed right there. So that is how you set up dual deployment in RockSim-Pro.